Queen of the stitch, my girl Dana Day.
Hello there, my crafty knitters. Welcome back to the Knitted Oaks channel. Today I have before you the Colorwork knitting technique of Intarsia. This is a brief swatch of it, and I'm going to show you how to do it in just a little bit. I just want to go over some brief things with you. Here goes my graph paper sketch of what I wanted to do. As you can see here, there's blocks of different colors here on the page, and that's pretty much what Intarsia is. It's when you're working with different blocks of color. Now, unlike Fair Isle, in Intarsia knitting, you will not be carrying each color of yarn across each row. Every section of color requires its own skein of yarn, or own bobbin of yarn, and these are what they call bobbins in Intarsia, which is kind of like a fancy way of just keeping your yarn neat as you're knitting Intarsia, because it can get very helter-skelter. It can get very busy with all different types of strands of yarn flying all over the place. So hence why they have bobbins, and I will also show you how to do that. Okay, so for this tutorial, I'm going to introduce to you the third color in my work here. Alright, so now I have my bobbin of color that I'm going to be inserting into the project. And all I do is just, take a little bit off. Now, there are times when you do like this, it might stay, it might just go ahead, like mine is doing right now, and unravel all the way down to the bottom. But that's okay, because it's just a little bit of string of yarn. It's not like a whole skein of yarn that's rolling away. And then these are in bobbin form already that you've already used for your project, and so it's not a hassle. It doesn't interrupt this color, and you don't have to worry about crisscrossing colors, okay? Alright, and I'm just going to go ahead and knit as I would. Now, for you doing a project, you knit as many stitches as you need in your particular color. I'm just showing you how to do the technique. So I'm not going over my swatch, my sketch of my swatch, I'm not going over how many stitches I'm doing. This is just to show you how to insert your color and how to do the technique itself. Okay? Okay, now for these last two stitches that I have, ooh, those are kind of tight. Really tight. For these last two stitches, I need white because this is my border. So every two stitches, the beginning of each row, the first two stitches and the last two stitches are knit, whether I'm on the right side or the wrong side of my work. And I'm going to show you how to do the wrong side work with Intarsia in a minute. So here's my bobbin for the next thing, because remember, I can't go back to the white that I used here or here. So I have to get a whole new block of white to do this last two stitches. So just a little bit of string like this, and I had it tied. I had it tied there. So what I'm going to do is just take that loop out. And I don't care if this unravels, because it's just two stitches. It's not that serious. But if it bothered you, you can go ahead and rewrap your bobbin for your previous color. For me, it's no qualm at all, because we're going to be back to this color in no time on the purl side. Okay, and I just knit as I would with my new block of color. Okay, and that's that. That is the knit side of Intarsia. So that's the important thing. And the way I introduced these two colors is basically how you would do as many colors as you want. Guys and gals, if you wanted a different color for each stitch that you have on your needle, you can do it with Intarsia. Right here I have 4 blocks of color, 5. Remember, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that's the uniqueness that Intarsia has over Fair Isle. Fair Isle only limits you to 2 colors at a time. You cannot do this with Fair Isle. Okay, so now going on to the next side. Using that same color that we just did for the end of our row, you can go ahead and use for the beginning of your row here. Oh, that's the short end. And like I said, I just knit the first and last 2 stitches of every row, no matter what side of the work I'm on. Okay, and just like I did in the past, I showed you that in order to prevent that little hole being in your work, what you want to do is marry the 2 yarns together. So what I do is, okay, I go counterclockwise like this. just drape it over and kind of like, you know, do a little X like that. And what you're doing on the wrong side for Intarsia is purling. Okay, so now you can pull that as tight as you want. All right, and you just continue to purl for your required amount of stitches. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And for tight knitters, this is okay. There's no qualm. The tighter the neater, you know me. Tight knitting is definitely permitted. Unlike Fair Isle. Fair Isle, your tight knitting could be against you. And ladies and gentlemen, believe it or not, that's all there is to Intarsia knitting. What I'm going to do is just continue knitting down my row, and then I'll be back to show you the finished product of our swatch. Alright guys, so here we are. This is what it looks like when it's all done. This is the block of color that I was working on when I started the tutorial. And as you can see, it's a rectangle, a triangle, and this is supposed to be a circle. So this is what it all looks like. Intarsia is very unique. And this is basically what is different about it from Fair Isle, is that you have just little sections of colors by themselves, not necessarily floats going around in the back. There are no floats with Intarsia. I have a blog post that I will put a link to in our description box below this video to give you more details about Intarsia knitting and just how really awesome it is. This tutorial is a very basic Intarsia. This was just to show you how to do it. But you can do things like this, and you can go as far as doing portraits. You can do flowers. You can do very detailed knitting with Intarsia, and that's what makes it such an awesome and sometimes intimidating colorwork knitting technique. So I want to thank you all so much for watching. If you haven't been by, please check out the Knitted Oaks website. All the links will be in the description box below of how you can reach me and how you can stay a part of the Knitted Oaks community. So thank you so much for watching, and remember, knitting is sexy. Bye.